There is a saying that human minds are like mirrors. There also is a saying that our lives are the reflections in those mirrors, our minds and attitudes. Like I mentioned earlier, a child who was bullied throughout her school years is likely to have fear on specific person in her mind. Even though she is free from such social pressure as a grown-up, she is likely to get extremely afraid of gazes of other people. Even though a passerby looks at her neutrally with no specific intention or looks at her because of her gorgeous appearance, she will feel fear. This is because the remaining fear inside her mind is projected onto that person. Like seeing the images reflected on a mirror, you are feeling the world as reflected on your mind. If you see a person you do not know on a street, you are likely to just pass by. However, if you see a family member or a close friend, you are likely to stop and say hello. This is because you already have information and feeling about that person in your mind. This means that what is in your mind becomes the mirror-like surface reflecting what you see, and your life experience is going to change depending on that surface. Your mind is programmed with symbols and emotions. And when a situation that reminds you of specific symbols and emotions takes place in real life, you get to think that such symbols and emotions are important, concentrate on them, and imagine about them. Your OCD is a tool your mind is using to delude itself into believing that it is important, even though it really isn't in real life. Due to the strong combination of symbols and emotions you have in your mind, you perceive everything in your life as related to such combination. Just like a boy with a hammer who thinks everything he encounters needs pounding. Through these projections, you create your life experiences. The people you know do not exist in a way you see them. You are seeing them as reflected on your mind. As such, you are reinterpreting and recreating the world around you. You are feeling fear on something because you are projecting the fear you already have in your mind onto that thing. The fact that you had such feelings inside your mind is important, as the object of your fear isn't the thing making you feel anxious. This is the reason why the first step you should take is to acknowledge that everything you are experiencing is the reflections of your mind, the things you imagined. Based on this characteristic of the human mind, I would like to talk about the tips which can help you ease your mind. To do so, I will introduce Buddha's teaching on the 5 elements of mind that cause suffering. Even though I do not have a religion, I think that Buddha's analysis on the above-mentioned elements of mind is very insightful. I will introduce them because many of my patients could ease their minds by practically understanding them. It helped them remove uncertainties and false hopes from their minds. Buddha said that the 5 elements of mind which cause suffering are greed, anger, stupidity, vanity, and suspicion. I believe that we are incorrectly projecting our minds and suffer due to these elements of mind. Sometimes, due to these elements, we develop faulty beliefs and feel inappropriate emotions. I suggest you to take time to read the description on each element provided below and contemplate on the strongest element that is fixed in your mind. The first element is greed. When a person have greed in her mind, she tends to expect and want the things she do not currently have. It should be noted that this happens only because he does not have the things he wants. This is a mind filled with false expectations. For example, a person who is afraid of the gaze of other people may believe that if she becomes more successful or perfect, she will not be afraid anymore. Just like that, a person who is greedy cannot help but have false expectations. This happens to a person wanting everything she does not have, even though no one can have everything. The gap between expectations and reality is the cause of her suffering. To set an appropriate goal and to work on to realize one's desire is a good thing. However, when one sets an impossible goal or starts to want fake things, she is likely to be distressed. Your OCD starts from your expectations on impossible goals and the failure to achieve such goals. To get out of this trap, you need to set different standards on your expectations and failures. It is also about acknowledging that you have been upholding wrong standards. The second element is anger, an infuriated part of the human mind. The reason we feel anger is because we do not like things we have. On the contrary to greed, the mind of a person who is in need of something she does not have. Anger is the mind of a person who wishes to get rid of the thing she already has. It also is the mind of a person who wants to break free from what she has been. A person with anger is unable to appreciate the things she owns, thinking that they are nothing, and tries to get rid of them. As this kind of person is unable to love himself herself, dissatisfaction slowly piles up in her mind. This kind of person habitually compares himself/herself against other people, thinking that the things other people have are better than the things she owns. Sometimes, excessive perfectionism becomes the cause of OCD. Because you cannot meet the standards you have set for yourself, you develop a tendency to throw yourself away. This is how a sense of guilt and self-reproach is created. Your perfectionism hurts you by making you compare yourself against other people. If your standards function properly, you will start to try and keep the things you already have and be thankful. You will get to feel satisfied with yourself. Your anxiousness will subside and you will feel more stable. You will be able to live your life concentrating on the things you already have. Being angry at yourself is one form of self-abuse. You don't have to blame yourself for not being good enough. The third element is stupidity, the idiotic part of the human mind. The most stupid behavior a person can have is not to do anything. This is the mind of a person hoping to escape from reality or to stay still because she complacently thinks that it is best to look away, escape or avoid the situation she is in. This kind of person thinks that she will be able to avoid things, and by doing so, solve the situation. Let's say that we are playing a game. What would you think if you see the main character standing still, not doing anything even after the game starts? There would be nothing more stupid than that. The character will grow only when you make it complete the missions one by one, despite the risk of failure. Life is like a game. Even though you momentarily fail, you need to continue to learn and grow. That's how the meaning of life is created. Also, if you do so, the game will become more fun to play. This is the reason why you have to take actions and create reactions in any way you can. Even though such actions and reactions make you fail, you will learn from the experience and grow. I will introduce you the most well-said motivational sentence, a quote from Robert Allen: "There is no failure. Only feedback." Failure is a subjective thing that changes depending on the definition of failure a person has. Most OCD patients feel anxious and scared over things that are not in fact failures. It is just that they define them as failures. Depending on what you believe, your life can drastically change. The most fundamental fears human beings feel are the ones related to death and social disgrace. Sometimes, the fear related to social disgrace overwhelms the fear related to death. This is the reason why we can see people committing suicide due to shame. We also see people who have achieved great things throwing their lives away for the greater good, or people in cults killing themselves for religious reasons. These are the examples of faiths overcoming fears. As you can see from these examples, the things you believe can have tremendous effect on you. You have to break away from the frames that limit you. On the other hand, if you do nothing, you are likely to fester or rot. You cannot run or escape from anything by staying still. No one can live your life for you. As it is your life, you have to take responsibility and autonomously act on it in any possible way you can. It would be a weird thing if your life wasn't your responsibility. The third element of mind is the one that keeps making excuses to look away and avoid, thinking that everything will sort itself out. It is the most stupid mind. OCD is a result of you avoiding your failures to achieve the things you have expected to achieve. However, you are only wasting your life avoiding. As you would already know, nothing would ever sort itself out. If you keep avoiding, you will only turn into a living dead. If you overcome this mind in a healthy way, you will start to enjoy what you are doing. Then, you will be able to move and take action even though it is going to be difficult at the beginning. You will be able to take more responsibility on the things you do. The more you face the truth and take responsibility, the more free your mind will be. You will have to choose and try to be free. The fourth element is vanity, being proud. It is a mind that can get stirred very easily. A person with this kind of mind gets easily excited if things go as planned or she gets her own way. On the contrary, if things go wrong even a little bit, she will be sad, frustrated, and negative. Because you are not a god, there always will be things that you can't control. On this earth, there are 6 billion people living with you. The very thought that you can control the world is a product of a very proud mind. Even if things go well, you are being proud if you think that it is because of your plan and management. To think that you failed because of your mismanagement is also the thing only a proud mind can come up with. To stop despairing and to get over your failures, you have to stop being proud. You should stop being agitated and make things worse. Instead, try to be modest. This is the reason why I labeled the mind that can get stirred very easily, the one that fluctuates between hopes and fears, as a proud mind. Some people with OCD have this kind of mind, the one that strongly thinks and believes that everything should go as planned. This is the mind of a person who believes that she can control things and any kind of uncertainty should be eliminated. However, the truth is that every moment of life is full of uncertainties. The truth has its own power. If you finally see the truth, all your fears will go away. This is the reason why you have to follow the truth. Surrounded by uncertainties, we cultivate desire, gain energy, and take actions. This is how the joy of living is created. You will have to learn to live with uncertainties. You will have to learn to swim in them. One thing you should never do is to fall into the trap of 100%. When you are caught in the trap of 100%, you cannot accept anything that is not 100% assured. Even 0.1% of uncertainty is not acceptable for you. Let's say that you have the OCD of checking. You need to close the gas valve or lock the door for fire or robbery prevention. From the outside, it seems like a very necessary action to take, because your house burning down or getting robbed really is a serious problem. However, this is the reason why you cannot break free from your checking OCD. You feel that checking is a reasonable and necessary thing to do. However, ordinary people do not check 24 hours a day because they know that the probability of such situations happening, house burning up or getting robbed, is very low. It is because the situation is highly unlikely to take place in real life, with the probability of it happening being less than 0.1%, they can ignore the so-called necessity of checking. When you multiply the importance of checking with the probability, you will get an extremely low value. This is the reason why most people can move on to do things they actually need to do, to keep the promises, and take care of the things that are really happening in their lives. However, people with OCD exaggerate that 0.1% probability. Even a small probability, far less than 100%, makes them believe that the situation they are afraid of is likely to happen. So to eliminate that minimal probability, they start to check over and over. In this state, they are unable to correctly discern the importance of checking and the probability of the situation happening. They have no capacity to embrace uncertainties. However, what they should understand is that they will never be able to control uncertainties. Nothing will be done 100% as planned. It is arrogant to think that they will be able to do everything according to their plans. In this respect, I would like to tell you that it might be helpful to laugh off your own self who cannot stop but believe that unlikely situations are to happen to you. There are emotions in humor. Try to laugh at your crazy and ridiculous way of thinking. Literally, just laugh off. If you can do that, you will become satisfied with the things reflected on your mirror, your mind. You will be able to accept the things that are beyond your control. You will be able to accept the probabilities less than 100%. For this to happen, you need to accept that uncertainties are natural. As everything in life is not a result but a process, things momentarily going well or not is not that important. If you accept uncertainties as integral components of your life, you will get to have a mind that is not easily agitated. You need a humble mind that can acknowledge and accept uncertainties. The last element is suspicion, the mind that mistrusts and disbelieves. This mistrust is the one directed to oneself. It is a disbelief that she will never be loved as the way she is. A person with this kind of mind thinks that she has to achieve something, be good at something, or become someone great to be loved and to not to be abandoned. From my point of view, people get to have this kind of mind due to their failures in forming close relationships in their childhood. It is also a belief which insists that only the special ones can be appreciated and loved. But this is not true, because we are already special as we are. There is no one like you in this world, as no one has experienced what you've experienced. The mere fact we exist here makes us special. You need to believe that there is only one person like you in this world, and just because of that you are entitled to be loved. When a child is born, even though she is completely helpless and dependent, we give him/her unconditional love. You and I both have received that kind of love in the past. So, you will need to believe that people will understand and accept you even though you are not good at something. I have seen many patients who got OCD due to the false expectations of the people surrounding them. Your OCD is related to the pressure you feel in your attempt to meet people's expectations. This is the reason why you need to believe that you can be loved as you are. When you start to believe that you will be loved as you are, you will be able to mend the relationships that you make with people close to you. Until now, we looked at the 5 elements of mind that cause suffering. I hope my explanation will help you find out the element in your mind that is causing your suffering. I believe that this is what you can do to truly take care of your mind. You have to take care of your world and the things inside that world reflected on your mind, your mirror. I hope that this chapter could be of help to you, in your endeavor to relieve your OCD symptoms.